Happy Monday. Why does that look blurry? I need something to clean it. And I don't have anything. Do I look blurry? Hang on. That doesn't really help much. All right. I hope I don't look blurry to you guys. Maybe it's just my camera. I was out. We were out working on the farm getting things planted today. I can't believe I have stuff planted already. And building raised beds, and I got like sawdust and dirt and stuff all over my phone. So how are you guys doing? It has been a couple weeks. Our family got the flu. It was no fun. And my voice is still real froggy because apparently this cough that lasts forever it has claimed my voice. So I go back and forth between like, I have laryngitis. Hey, I can talk. So it literally may go in the middle of this. So we're going to do our best, okay? We're going to try. But you're going to have to excuse the coughing and the throat clearing because that's where I'm at right now, okay? So, hi Paula, how are you? All right, so yeah, come in, ask your questions. I want to answer all the questions. So, I miss you guys. I am so glad to be back here. So, okay, we're going to talk about, I'm going to get my spiel out, and then any questions that y'all have, just shoot them out there. Hopefully we don't have the trolls like we had last time. That was bad. All right. Good. I'm glad you guys are good. All right. So we're going to talk about neurological. Hi, Robin. We're going to talk about neurological emergencies and seizures. Okay. Neurological emergencies, like as a whole, can be different kinds of things. It can be a behavioral issue. It can be an emergency like someone with MS and having a crisis. They can have like sudden nerve involvement where like all of a sudden they cannot breathe anymore. And they can have involvement where all of a sudden they have no use of their legs, or they can't feel or function with like a certain limb. So the nerves are weird, and we know this much about the nerves, even and across all human beings. Like we know nothing. We really know nothing. God has not shared that information with us. We are not privy to it. So we know this much of the brain. We know how, like the structure of it, what parts are responsible for what. We know all of the moving parts within the nervous system. We know the parts of the brain, where the spinal cord connects, and how the nerves go through the body and where they go. And they can do nerve mapping, and they can like learn all this great stuff. But really when it comes down to it, we know nothing, okay? We know what FND can present like that too. Yeah, okay, so FND is functional neurological disorder, yeah. So it's weird. And really, okay, so Taylor's talking about FND. Two people with FND look completely and totally different. Two people with MS look completely and totally different. Two people with epilepsy look completely and totally different. So let's talk about seizures, okay? So someone with seizures can have a epileptic seizure or can have a non-epileptic seizure. So an epileptic seizure, they can track that on an EEG. They can say, oh, there it is right there. And they can isolate that area, and they can treat that area. There's a lot of different kinds of treatments that they can do for someone that is epileptic. Someone that is non-epileptic, is still having seizures, can be caused by numerous things. Something like FND, like what Taylor was talking about, that can absolutely cause seizures. You can also have seizures from febrile seizures. So if you're a mom and you've had a kid spike a super high fever really fast, during that high spike, that's when they have that seizure. It's usually during the initial spike. And then if you do something to bring that fever down, as we do, if it gets super high like that, and then it spikes again, they can have another seizure. So in some kids, their nervous system is just fried from that. They can't handle seizures like that. Fevers, I mean. Every kid responds. Okay, like I have 4 kids. They all respond differently to fevers, all of them. I have got one that could look like beet red. He looks like he looks absolutely horrible. His eyes are all bloodshot. They're just awful. And he looks so miserable. And we look at him and we're like, "You doing okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine." "I'm fine. Why?" Like, he's fine. He just wants to sleep and he just wants to chill. And when he was 4, we actually have pictures of this boy at 4 years old going, "My body is hot." And he wants to go outside in February with nothing but like a pair of shorts on and shoes. And that's it. And he's like, "My body is hot." And he wants to lay on the concrete. Like that's that's how fevers are in him. And then I have another one who like 99.5, and he's like, it's awful. Every inch of his body hurts and he is just miserable. And for me, I don't really treat fevers in my kids unless the fevers get really high or they're really miserable. Those are the two things that I will treat a fever for. And he's miserable at the jump. So he gets a little more stuff than some of the other ones do. But I've never had a kid seize. I've never had one of my kids, thank the Lord, have a seizure because of a fever. But I have a friend who, the second her son has the hint of a fever, just like mine, at the hint of a fever, he's like, it's just in so much pain. Every inch of him hurts. Hers will seize and seize for a long time. And they can't get him to stop. So they got to get him into the hospital and then they have to bring his temperature down. And you have to do that carefully because if you bring a temperature down too fast, then you can put the kid into shock. So it can be a scary thing. Something as simple as a fever. If they get the flu and they end up with a fever and it causes them to seize, they look way sicker than they are. And it's a scary thing. Then you've got things like diabetic seizures. Diabetic seizures are caused by low blood sugar. So anybody who is prone to seizures needs to have medical alert jewelry on, no matter what. Okay. Now I have seen patients get tattoos, like if they are not going to wear, because things come off. So like I've seen people tattoo just like on their chest. We had one guy tattoo like his entire medical history on his entire pec, and then nobody could like knew it was there unless you actually like pulled you cut his shirt off or something. You couldn't see his whole medical history. So yes, jewelry can come off, but just get quality jewelry and you don't have to worry about that so much. But a medical alert bracelet, a medical alert necklace, something like that. I am a fan of doing more than one spot. Don't just put it on your phone because honestly, as paramedics, we're not looking for your phone. Like, that's not the initial thing. The initial concern is you. Usually, now, with bigger fire departments, I worked very small, okay? So, and like private ambulance sector is a completely different thing. It is you and your partner, and that is it. So, in a bigger fire department, where you have all of these people that are showing up. So you call 911 and you get a truck and you get a box and you get the fire chief showing up in his car. And then, oh, look, there's another ambulance for you. So they're going to come to just because, we want to help you. And um, you have a lot of extra hands. So someone will be like, okay, grab their belongings, and they can look in your phone and they can see, are there any kind of medical alerts in there? That's not always possible. So having something like there on your person. If you have a service dog, you can also put something on your service dog on their vest so that when they're working, when they're on duty and they've got that on their vest or on their collar too, and they've got an extra thing that's got your information on it. What else have I seen? Seen the tattoos, I've seen people have like shirts printed and things, they get creative. We just, as EMS professionals, okay, as medical professional, you just want your information needs to be where we can access it so we can help you the fastest, okay? And then so that we can tell the hospital, because we are the first line to the hospital. They're going to know everything that we know. We're going to tell them. So you don't want them to be like, who is this person? Oh, okay, this is so and so. We can look up all of their information, and that is time wasted. Yes, the hospital has that on file, but they have to go through your files to find a lot of this stuff because a lot of the time your history is not accurate or complete, and they're not going to take the time to read through all this. So if you have important information, you need to be responsible to have it on your person. Put the medical alert jewelry on and don't take it off ever. Okay, ever. Sleep with it. Go outside with it. Be everywhere with it. Okay, it's very, very important. So, if you're diabetic having seizures, very, very important that you keep your glucophage or your like whatever medication or whatever candy or whatever you have that works best for you. You need to make sure you keep that on you all the time too, so that people can help you. You can help yourself before you get to that point where it's a serious emergency. If you are witnessing a seizure, this is how you handle it. If you're standing by someone that mine is a slide on my smartwatch. I love it. Yours, Taylor, what is your medic alert thing? Okay, so I'm going to encourage you to not trust your smartwatch. That is a good secondary thing, but you need to have actual medical alert jewelry because watches die. And not everyone is going to be like, what is she? It's the same thing as a phone. Not everyone is going to be like, oh, okay, what? Ooh, I hope I don't. Okay. It was saying now playing, and I'm like turning things off. Not everyone is going to be going through your watch and is going to be, looking for your information. The medic alert stuff, no, like a metal slide on the band. Oh, it's like on here. Okay, that's cool. That's interesting. I've never seen those. We may have to get some of those too. That's very interesting. Okay. That's cool. All right. So what was I saying? Taylor, you distracted me. Um, um, okay, yes, how you're helping someone. So if someone is going, I cut myself, if someone is going to have a seizure, okay, and you see them go down, if you are standing next to them, don't move out of the way, catch them, okay? Just like let them, just brace them. You're not trying to hold them up. You don't want to hold them up because that's not going to be real comfortable or possible for someone that's having a full, what we call tonic-clonic seizure, which we'll get to in a minute, the types of seizures, like seizure activity, because there's different kinds. But just kind of guide them to the ground, okay? Just kind of use your body and like let them, I mean, you can do this as a small person with a big guy, okay? Like my husband, easily, I don't know how much more he weighs than I do, but he is like here on me, okay? And he weighs a lot more than I do. And if he were to have a seizure and go down, I can still support his weight and get him safely to the ground, because all you're doing is like bracing yourself, okay? You're gonna like, you can't see my legs. You're gonna like anchor yourself, okay? So like spread your legs apart, bend your knees, and like, sit a little bit, seat yourself so you're anchored, and you're gonna let them kind of like fall to you, and you just kind of bear hug around as best you can, and you lower them to the ground. You're going down too. Okay? You're gonna slide down to the ground, you're gonna roll them to their side because you need to protect their airway. So with EMS, okay, everything, well, in anything medical, we talk ABCs, airway, breathing, circulation. Your airway, maintaining the airway is the most important thing. When someone is having a seizure, their tongue does this, okay? It goes to the back of their throat. It cuts off their airway. And if they're having a tonic-clonic seizure, they most likely, a lot of the time, they're going to do this, okay? They're going to bite down hard, sometimes repeatedly, depending on how they seize, or they'll bite the flesh of their cheek, and then blood will start going into their airway. So if you're doing this, if you're like rolling them over to the side, gravity's working for you. Their tongue is still going to be like, because they do this. Like people with epileptic seizures, they contract. And this is a typical seizure, okay? They will contract, and they're doing like these kinds of movements, and they're it's very aggressive. So like if you're trying to hold them down, don't do that. Just let them do what they're going to do. The only thing you are going to be concerned with is turning them on their side so that if they end up drooling, biting themselves and bleeding. Sometimes it can be bad. I've seen people bite parts of their tongue and their cheek off. And the blood comes. So you just let it go, okay? You just let them do their thing, let them have their seizure. It looks scary when you see it, but it's not about how you're feeling, it's about what they need, right? So you turn, just let gravity do that, and it'll be okay. Um, when you have somebody having an epileptic seizure, oftentimes you will see them have loss of bladder and bowel function too. This doesn't happen for everybody. It doesn't, both of them don't happen to everybody. Some people never have that happen. It really just depends on their types of seizures, the intensity of the seizure. Honestly, if their bladder or bowel is full when they're having a seizure, it depends on a lot of things. So, and honestly, what part of the nervous system is like, where is the seizure in the brain? You know, so like certain parts of this, for certain parts of the brain is not, they're not, it's not going to have that kind of involvement. Other parts of the brain, usually the ones that are going to produce a tonic-clonic seizure, which is your typical seizure activity where you're seeing them like repeatedly making those kinds of movements, and they're completely out. By the way, they cannot hear you even if their eyes are open, even if they're fixed on you, they which they're usually not, but it can happen. Nobody's there right now. Okay, their brain is off, so you have to wait for them to come out of it in order to have any kind of conversation. Usually, oh wait, hang on, let me back up. So when they have that bladder bowel involvement, okay, um, cover them. A lot of people, a lot of epileptics will have in their bags with them a change of clothes, or they'll have something to cover them, like a sweatshirt. If someone's got a sweatshirt around their waist and it's July, okay, use, that's kind of a hint, all right? Like use that to cover them. Just kind of help them with their modesty in that point, okay? Just a nice thing that will be appreciated. Okay. Types of seizures. So there's tonic-clonic seizures. That is your grand mal seizure. Or tonic-clonic activity is in a grand mal seizure. So your tonic-clonic activity is full body movement. You're seeing like repetitive jerking. Sometimes you'll see heads like move like this. It's very kind of rhythmic, repeated, like a lot. Most of the body is involved in this. They are out. They are completely out. These usually are more severe. They have bigger involvement in the brain, and they are not going to snap out of it, okay? They are going to be in a postictal state. Postictal states are basically where all of the reserves of the body have been depleted, and they need to be built back up before the person is going to be completely conscious. So they're going to sound drunk. They're going to sound drunk. They're going to look drunk. They're not going to be able to really focus on anything. They're going to be slurring their words, kind of looking like they might be having a stroke sometimes. That is normal postictal behavior. Someone that has a non-epileptic seizure could still have postictal behavior because non-epileptic seizures still deplete you severely. So, and like if you have a seizure, you're probably told that you need to hydrate yourself a lot. You need to take a lot of electrolytes because the amount of stores that you lose after you have a seizure is tremendous. So you have to replete yourself, it's a word now. You have to replete yourself after you have a seizure. It's very important. So, or else you could keep having them. Okay, so it's very important that you get everything balanced. Okay. Then there's petite mal seizures. So we had grand mal, which is your tonic-clonic activity. You have petite mal seizures. Petite mal seizures are baby seizures, okay? They are basically, they're also called absence seizures. So if you have, you can have, these are more common with kids, especially little kids, like toddlers, babies. They will just look vacant. They will literally look like this when they're having a seizure. Or they'll just like look very far off and they're not responsive. Or they'll look like completely just frozen. And they're not, and that could last a couple seconds and they come out of it and they're like, ah, and you think they're joking. You think they're just like being goofy, especially if it's like a toddler preschooler age. When they're babies, it's a little freaky. because you're like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with my kid? What's wrong with my baby? And then they come out of it and you're like, that was weird. And then they keep doing it and you're like, what is this? It's very, but it's not, it's freaky, but it's not so alarming that you're going to call 911. So a lot of times with babies, they will have petite mal seizures, and they won't realize that that's what it is until they take them into the doctor for something. And they're just like, yeah, they do this weird thing every once in a while. Or, I'm concerned about this enough to call and to come in, but it's not like an emergency. I'm not taking them into the hospital. In all of the time that I was a paramedic, that actively as a paramedic and working, I had never picked up a kid for focal point seizures, for absent seizures, petite mal seizures, whatever you want to call them. I had never picked them up. I'd seen them, like, we're taking them to the hospital because something else is going on, but hey, you're also having these. Did you know that they're having them? Do they normally have seizures? No? Okay, well, they are now. So it was just always something that we found after the fact. I'm told I blink a ton when having an absence. You do. Yep. So that can happen too. It can just be blinking. That classifies, Taylor, as a petite mal seizure. So petite mal means minimal involvement. It means it's not the ones when you hit the ground and your whole body's having the involvement. It's the ones that maybe you're blinking a lot, maybe you're clenching a lot, like you're just doing like repetitive clenching. Maybe it looks like you have a tick and you're just like, it's just your shoulder and you're just kind of like, not like, you're spacing out and you're just like, it's just one part of your body. So absent seizures, focal point seizures. Focal point means like, a certain focused point. They are just minimal involvement. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's talk. We're gonna kind of get off of. Hi, Amanda. How are you? We're gonna kind of get off of seizures, and we're going to get into other neurological things. But if you guys have any more questions about seizures, definitely drop them in there, and I'll answer them for you. Okay, so other kind of neurological involvement, any kind of neurological issues, not so much as emergencies, but just kind of issues. Things like migraines, systemic nerve-related pain, neuropathy, fibromyalgia, diabetic neuropathy. I classify those as different things because someone that does not have diabetes can still have neuropathy. There are many other conditions that can go along the nervous system that can cause neuropathy. Neuropathy, if you don't know what neuropathy is, it's hell. It's absolute awful for those people that have it. If you have diabetic neuropathy, that is usually your extremities. It starts in your legs, and it is this constant nerve pain that is in your legs. And if you've never felt nerve pain, bless you, because nerve pain is awful. Nerve pain is like, you feel like you are climbing the walls, and it is this deep ache and sharp pain in a place that you did not know was that deep in your body. I don't even know how to explain it. It's super painful. And people with fibromyalgia can also have a type of neuropathy. They can also have just that systemic nerve pain. It's awful. Nerve pain is the worst. It's very specific. Once you have nerve pain, you know what it feels like. But these are all different neurological and things that can be supported using a combination of your medications and herbs, or one or the other, however, whatever way works for you. But before we get into those things, well, I kind of already talked about that stuff. I have my notes here. So medications, I have notes saying, like, talk about causes, care, prevention, meds, and herbs. So causes, we kind of talked about. These are the different things that can cause, like, epileptic seizures is epilepsy. Non-epileptic seizures is your fevers, your low blood sugars. You can different conditions, like what Taylor was talking about, her FND. Like, there's a lot of different conditions that can cause. POTS can cause them. There's many different things that can cause seizures. So when you're caring for someone that has the seizures, I think the only thing that I didn't really mention was that if they're saying that they don't feel right, or if you know the person and they don't look right, go by them, go stand by them, encourage them to sit, encourage them to take a medication if they need to take a medication. Sometimes you need to be a little forceful because if they're like to the point where they're like starting to go, but you know that they can still benefit from their treatment, be forceful. Like, yeah, you're taking this now, especially with a low blood sugar. Think, oh my gosh, what is the name of the movie? I'm totally blanking out. Steel Magnolias, Julia Roberts, when she's in the chair getting her hair done for her wedding and she has a seizure and her mom's like, hey, you're drinking this juice. You're going to drink this juice because she needs it. But she's like, no, 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 because she's like in the middle of having this seizure. Um, yeah, which that's not what they look like. You don't talk and shake your head no when you're having a seizure. That's not what they look like. But anyway, digressing. But yeah, you just do what needs to be done for them. And if you're a bystander, like what we talked about, help bring them down to the ground. Don't stick anything in their mouth. That is a very common thing. That is a very common thing that you see, like in the media, in TV. You see, like, oh, put a bite stick in there. Nobody uses the bite stick. Nobody does that because by the time they're having a seizure, they're clenched. You're not getting anything in there. And if you stick your finger in there, I hope you weren't attached to it because you're not going to walk out with it. They can bite off your fingers. Okay. So don't stick anything in there. Don't stick a stick in there. Don't stick a towel in there. Don't stick a bite stick in there, even though those are like for the seizure. Don't do it because you have now just created a hazard for their airway. So not what we want to do. We don't want to create another problem. Dental work can be done. Okay. If you're worried about their teeth, teeth can be fixed, okay? And airway is much harder to fix, so just let it be. Yes, I pretty much always feel mine coming on, but can be kind of stubborn because I'm just out of it. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So, meds. Okay, so those with meds, and as far as I know, Taylor, you're the only one in here that has seizures, as far as I'm aware. So take your meds, stay hydrated, take your electrolytes, do everything that needs to be done so that you're not putting yourself into a bad situation. Plain and simple. Herbs. So you need to, just like everything else that we've always talked about. Hang on. Just like everything else we have always talked about. I brought my charger up here and I didn't plug it in, so hopefully we don't need it because then I'm going to be shaking the camera. You need to make sure that any kind of medication that you are on has no interactions with it. That also means that your herbs do not block the absorption of your pharmaceutical medications. This is incredibly important with diabetics. So if, say, let's just talk about, because we were talking about glucophage earlier, glucophage, whatever. If you need to take that or suck on candy or something, if you need to take something that is going to rapidly bring your blood sugar up, usually with a medication, then there's a handful of herbs that can block the absorption. And it doesn't mean block like put up a wall, you're not going to absorb anything. It means you're not going to absorb the full amount. You need to know what herbs you cannot take because there are a good handful of herbs that will block the absorption of certain medications. So you need to know, and that can happen, with diabetic medication, that can happen with blood pressure medication, with mental health medications. There's a lot of different things that can block absorption. So you really have to watch it there. That just comes down to knowing your herbs, that you don't have to know every herb. Like I don't know every herb. I know the ones like the back of my hand that I use or that I work with directly with clients. So, or that I grow. So, and how I learned all of these herbs is by working with them one at a time. So, if you know, hey, I've got a lot of neurological things going on with me, I want to, take some things that are going to help kind of calm that down and get my body back to like more of a homeostasis. You're going to go research those herbs one at a time. And I've got a list. We're going to talk about this list, but you're going to talk about these herbs just one at a time. You're going to research them one at a time, and you're going to incorporate them one at a time. You don't want to go taking every herb that I'm about to list here for you, because then you have no idea what herb is actually working or making you worse, or what herb is like, ooh, this is the best one. All I needed was this one. You could be taking more than you actually need, which is just more money for you and time to put everything together. So, yeah, just learn the herbs that you're interested in. So let's get into the herbs. Let's get into the good stuff here. Okay, so there's herbs that are nervines, okay? And a nervine is a herb that is going to work positively in your nervous system. So we talked about, we know this much about the nervous system. Well, one of the things we do know is that there's so many different things your nerves are responsible for. Your nerves are responsible for everything in your body, because your body, not a single system in your body can function without your brain, right? So your brain is responsible for every single nerve that goes through your body. And you have nerves that go through every single organ and every single square inch of your body. Nothing can function without your nerves. It is where the messages go, okay? It's where the messages run to and from. So if you are, say, if you are someone that has like that nervous gut, okay, we're going to start easy here. And you, every time like you have anxiety or you have stress, or you're just like, oh my goodness, I've got a deadline at work, or I've got, my husband is having surgery tomorrow, or my kid is really sick, and you feel that in your gut, you are just so nervous, it makes you sick to your stomach. That is running on your vagus nerve. So if you've heard the phrase like your stomach, your gut is your second brain, that is why, because they're connected. And they like if you're soothing your nerves with an herb like chamomile that is also helpful to your gut, you're serving that, you're soothing that entire flow, that entire system. You're working to support your vagus nerve, calming your nerves and your brain and the emotions that you're experiencing and the upset in your gut, because chamomile also has gut properties. It also is a nervine. It multi-beneficial here. So that's why when we're talking about herbs that do all these different things, that's why God created them like that, because they like something like chamomile. I love chamomile. It's one of my favorites, and it's my favorite scent. If I'm gonna pick an herb, that is my all-time favorite scent. Um, Chamomile, for example, good for the nerves, good for the gut, good for the skin, good for the eyes, like it good for any kind of like wounds in your mouth, like does so many different things. And if you really dive into things, all of these things are related. All of them are related. So if you're really, and when you're learning about these herbs one at a time, you're going to learn like, oh my gosh, like, oh, that body part is connected to that body. Wow, these actually work together. So yeah, you can go after getting that gut regulation, but if your nerves are fried, your gut is not going to be healed. Like you really, like at the heart of everything is your gut, okay? But if your nerves are fried, you need to be working on your nerves and your gut simultaneously, because one is not going to work without the other. You need to address the whole person, which is the whole heart of herbalism. And, natural healing is everything working together. Everything is connected. You can't do one thing without the other. So you can't be like, yeah, I constantly have, this underlying stomach issue. Okay, well, we need to look at everything, and we need to see what is the big picture here? What is going on in your life? What are your chronic issues? What medications are you taking? What's your diet like? Like there's so many. If you've talked to me at the farmers market, which I think there's a couple people here that have, talk to me at the farmer's market, and you'll start talking about other things, and I will ask you 1,000,001 questions. It's not uncommon for people to be like, oh, I didn't think about that. It's not, get that all the time. And then we have to have a broader conversation about like, so this is how this is connected, and this is what would work best for you. So as always, I love talking to people, and like they have that like aha moment. That's like my favorite part. Okay, so let's talk about nervine herbs. So we talked about chamomile, lavender, passion flower, valerian, lemon balm, blue vervain. Those are the most common ones that I work with, that I recommend for people that you can purchase, grow, get a hold of as a preparation. They are very, very easy to deal with. Okay, that was a lot. So Let's go one at a time. So blue vervain is really awesome if you are a woman, which I'm pretty sure everybody in here is tonight. Um, then you may want to keep this on your shelf, on your apothecary shelf, if you are a female that during your cycle you can get a little explosive. If you have, and this is me, okay, I'm gonna put it out there. When I have certain cycles that are way more hormonal than others, and when I get to that part of like more PMSy where it's a little more irrational, or I can be a little more explosive, real short tempered, then uh, blue vervain is a nice thing for me to have on board. I want to be taking blue vervain during that kind of time. The hard part for me is identifying that and recognizing it, but I have a big enough family. If I'm recognizing them going, what is wrong with you? Like, it may be a clue. Maybe we should take our blue vervain, okay? And then I take it for that whole week. It does help kind of regulate and calm your nerves and bring you back down to kind of sanity. Okay, so that is a great herb to have to kind of calm those frayed nerves, because that's what's happening right there. Like, it's your hormones that are, here comes the train, your hormones that are so out of whack that it's frying your nerves. So that's where blue vervain works. Also, if you are someone that has OCD and if you have Tourette's, blue vervain is lovely, okay? It is a really nice herb to have in conjunction specifically with some of the other ones that we're going to mention, specifically lion's mane. It's great, great, great combination if you have like a neurological disorder like that, something where you've got a lot of involuntary movements, where you've got a lot of compulsions. Blue vervain, lion's mane is great combo. Valerian, really great for sleep. I am like out of water. It's not good. Valerian, excellent for sleep. It is really good for helping to calm your mind and calm your body and get yourself ready to rest. So it doesn't do much if you are, well, I can't say it doesn't do much. It doesn't do tons for keeping you asleep. So if you're a woman going through menopause, is very popular time to have this issue, especially when you get to like my age, when you're like approaching your mid 40s, and then all the way through the rest of premenopause through to menopause, your hormones get so out of whack that it really affects your sleep. Like, you can get major insomnia. Something that I hear the most from women. I listened to this happen with my mom. I'm going through it now, and I have listened to many friends go through it, where you can get to sleep just fine, but then you wake up in the middle of the night and you're up for 4 hours and then you go back to sleep. That's really hard. So that's a hormone thing. And there's a lot of nerves that, or nerves, nervine herbs that you can take to help support your nervous system through that. But it's not just a nervous system thing, it's also a hormonal thing. So having an herb that has a phytoestrogen component to it, like red clover has phytoestrogen. We're not going, that's totally different topic, but phytoestrogen is basically plant-based estrogen. So you can take an herb like red clover that can be helpful in menopause. Hibiscus, another one. Like, you can take a combination of those, whatever works there for you. Motherwort is fabulous for regulating hormones. So maybe let's just put something together here for a fictitious person here. Motherwort, red clover, hibiscus, and you can, what were we talking about? Valerian. And valerian. That would be a really nice combination to help regulate hormones and to help assist with sleep. So you could drink that in the evening, right before you're going to bed. And of course, this isn't like taking an Ambien, right? Like, you're not going to just pop that pill and then you'll be walking down the hall and be like, ooh, I'm so tired. This is not what's going to happen with herbs. This is going to be more of a, okay, I'm taking my tea. I'm going to go get in bed. I'm going to get a book. I'm going to shut the lights off. I'm going to stay off my phone. I'm going to stay off the TV. And we're going to create an environment where it's good for me to go to sleep. These are going to help you, okay? This is going to assist your body with what you are physically doing to help get you to sleep, okay? Lavender, we kind of talked about. Chamomile, lavender, very similar the way it works together. Passion flower, excellent for sleep. So passion flower, some people that are really sensitive to valerian, I will do passion flower for them instead I make in my book, the 50 herbal recipes to stock your home apothecary book. That it's still available. It's always available on my website if you guys want to download it. Um, Passion flower and valerian are both in there, but sometimes people go like, I didn't like something in this, and then I can listen to why they didn't like what it made them feel like, and it's usually the valerian that I take out. If someone is sensitive to herbs, usually if you're someone that's really sensitive to medications, like maybe if you need to take an ibuprofen, you take half of one instead of the recommended like two, then there's certain herbs that tend to be stronger, that those are like my first clue. Like if you have that kind of um weaker constitution, I guess, when you are having kind of a not ideal reaction to something, is stronger herb is the first one I'm going to take out, if that makes sense. So like valerian is the first one I'll take out. So if you're more of a sensitive person, passion flower is probably a better option for you. I will give you the fair warning, passion flower does not taste good. It is something that you have to mask the flavor of, and you can do it very well. It is easy to mask, but don't go drinking passion flower tea. It's not a fun experience. I would not recommend it. But passion flower with like passion flower, chamomile, lemon balm, a little bit of mint. It can make a delicious tea. I love our sleep assist tea. It's really tasty. I enjoy that one. All right, and there's the end of my water. All right, now we're going to get into a different class of things that you can take that would be very supportive if you have neurological issues. So the blue vervain, valerian, chamomile, lavender, passion flower, lemon balm. Those, oh, I didn't mention the lemon balm. Lemon balm can work very, very nicely uh, to kind of calm your whole body, to help just kind of bring you down. Okay, bring you down in a good way, not in a negative way. Like lemon balm, some people can have like straight lemon balm tea taste delicious, and they're good. Like that relaxes them, that calms their mind, that calms their bodies. They can get to sleep that way. Like lemon balm is enough for them. Um, it's really good for kids, like doing a lemon balm and chamomile tea. When my kids are younger, like my daughter, okay, she's 9, that could be enough for her for sleep. If I give her the sleep assist tea, she is like unconscious for 12 hours, okay? But I don't need to give her all of that. I could just do the lemon balm, the chamomile. She likes the taste of lavender, so I can add a little bit of lavender in there, and that's good. Okay, so for smaller people, people with that weaker constitution, that are just a little bit more fragile, that is a great combination there. Okay. Now, the difference in these different groups of herbs that I am going to talk about. We just talked about all of those herbs that I just listed. Those herbs are nervine herbs, okay? So they're going to work, like we already said, to kind of calm the nerves, to support the nerves, but also to calm you, to relax you, to help kind of settle you. They work great together. Some of them work great individually, but they're really great as helping herbs and supportive herbs. So you got your supportive herb, which is kind of like you got like your key herbs, your supportive herbs, and what did I just say? Oh my goodness. When you're making a blend, we're going to back up a little bit. When you're making a blend of something, you've got your key herbs, okay, which is these are the herbs that we're focusing on. We want these the most. Like skullcap is another fabulous nervine. That's a great nervine. I should have included that in the list. Works across many different nervous system situations. If you want to add a little more nervine support, a little more support for the nervous system, but you're considering what it's for, like we mentioned with chamomile with the gut, like they have a lot of gut involvement when they're nervous and anxious, then we're going to add that chamomile. That's a supportive herb. So then you just kind of like you're stacking them on. Each one supports the other one. They are all similar, but then kind of do a little bit different jobs too. So you're stacking them together to work together. Now, those work great for people that kind of have like, that nervous system involvement, just kind of in a day to day. When you're talking about people that have migraines, that have FND, like Taylor's talking about, if you have epilepsy, if you are someone that has fibromyalgia or has diabetic neuropathy, these herbs that I'm going to talk about here are way different. These are tonic herbs. Tonic herbs in herbalism, they're herbs that work uh, on the long haul. Okay. This is not something you're going to take this and like tomorrow I feel great. That's not what we're going for here. These are herbs that are going to have more of a benefit to you the longer they're in your system. So herbs as a whole, all of the herbs work as long as they are in your system. Some of them can stay in there for a very long time, like white willow bark, for example. You take white willow bark for pain, expect it not to kick in for a few hours and it's going to be in your system, but that's how that herb works. Meadowsweet, same thing, works a little bit differently, but same thing. There's a delayed reaction for the pain help, okay? When it comes to tonic herbs, these are herbs, when you hear the word tonic, they are herbs that, as long as they are not contraindicated or have warnings for you with medications that you are taking or conditions that you have, these are herbs that you can take every single day for a prolonged period of time with zero issues. So tonic herbs are going to have the most effect the longer they are in your body. They build up in your body. A really good example I like to give of this, if you are someone that has sensitivities to gluten, but every once in a while you can have a bagel or the Krispy Kreme donut that I ate yesterday. You can have that and you won't have any immediate response. But if you eat these things consistently or you eat a lot of it, you're going to have a problem. That kind of a deal. Okay. Like you have a buildup in your system. Herbs can be the same way. Okay. These tonic herbs, that's how they work. You get a buildup in your system, except this is not like a Krispy Kreme donut. Okay. This is good. This is a good thing. This is what we want. This is what we're going after. So these herbs are lion's mane, turkey tail, reishi, astragalus, ashwagandha. Those are my 5 favorites right there. Lion's mane is incredible. And I'm just going to share a little personal thing. I put my son on lion's mane. Also, he does blue vervain with it when it's needed. But lion's mane is a daily for him. He has Tourette's, and his Tourette's he started with his first symptoms when he's about 10, and it has carried through. Okay. He's going to be 19 in a few months, and it has carried through all those years. Typically, you do see a lot of people with Tourette's. It starts to kind of fade as they're like, pass through puberty and they're like into adulthood, okay? You do see a little bit of a decrease, but his Tourette's are pretty much non-existent now. And we are talking about Tourette's where he would tick so severely that he has broken furniture, that he has ripped hair out of his head, that he has, like, it's been extreme. He's broken things, that he's hurt himself. Working on things with tools, with sharp objects, and he's hurt himself. So there was concerns about him being able to drive. So all things that he can do, that it's a non-issue. And like he's in school for engineering, all hands on stuff. Okay. He's in the forging club. Like he does a lot of things that's like, a couple years ago, I would have been deeply concerned a little bit. Not because he's not capable, but because if he would tick during a certain situation, just as a mom, like just with my mom heart, that would make me very nervous. But the lion's mane, when I saw him before we got the flu, I asked him if he needed more lion's mane, and he's like, no, I'm good for a few more weeks. But his ticks were like no, they weren't even there. Like I didn't see him tick once the entire time I was with him, which I don't think has happened since he was like my daughter's age, since he was like 9. So it's incredible. It is an incredible herb, the way it works in the nervous system. It helps to regulate things. Lion's mane is amazing. Turkey tail, reishi, same thing. Now you're gonna have to research these yourself because I am not a medicinal mushroom expert yet. Okay. I am actually, and I have not shared this here, I am in school right now to be a naturopath. So I will be a naturopathic herbalist. I am well on my way. I'm actually almost done. So, but when I'm done with that, then I will have my medicinal mushroom journey waiting, ready and waiting for me. So there is a book called Medicinal Mushroom, and I will put a link down later on in the description box there, and you guys can check that out. But that is the most highly recommended book that I've come across. And I've mentioned before that I was going to share that when I found a good one. This is the most highly recommended medicinal mushroom book. Oh, I'm getting my voice a little bit. Medicinal mushroom book that I have heard. And I got a chance to kind of flip through. It looks excellent, but I do not own a copy yet. I'm very excited to own a copy that I can mark up and do all the things with and really dive deep, because we have turkey tail growing out of our ears. I mean, it's like everywhere on our land. So I'm very excited to really dive into turkey tail. And I really want to set up a lion's mane area so we can I'm gonna have to research that. There is actually a mushroom farm for those that are local. That it is, if you're local and you want the information, you guys can get a hold of me. But they actually do grow some of these mushrooms, so I might pick their brain about doing it because I want to have control of it myself. And I don't want to, when it comes to medicinal things, I don't want to have to worry about cross contamination if it's something that I am going to be giving to other people. Like, I know I don't have any mushroom sensitivities, but other people, when you're talking about medicinal form, I need to make sure that stuff is like pure, okay, and it doesn't have cross contamination with other types of mushroom, because I don't want issues for other people. But I would love to learn from them. And because it's always nice to, when you're getting your hands on herbs and things, to like learn from somebody that is like immersed in it, that knows. That's why I like to have on-farm classes, because people can come learn from me, put their hands on the things that we're growing, that we're doing, and like really get into it. So that's like the best way. Anyway, so lion's mane, turkey tail, reishi, mushrooms, excellent, excellent, excellent. Astragalus and ashwagandha, the last two we're going to talk about. And I think we're going to go over 8 o'clock a little bit, which is fine with me. It's okay, because daylight savings time is insane. It's insane. My kids, I had to wake them up at 11 on Monday or on Sunday. I'm like, who are you and who are my children? Who's sleeping till 11? Yeah. And then this morning they slept super late again. Not that late, but they still slept real late. All right, astragalus. We're going to start with astragalus. You guys have heard me talk about astragalus when it comes to the immune system. So astragalus is an immune modulator. It's called an immune amphoteric. And that basically means that it creates homeostasis in the nervous system, or in the immune system. Does a similar thing for the nervous system. So that is a great herb to have, again, in conjunction with some other immune supportive herb. Depends on your situation. Okay. Ashwagandha, really excellent for this. Now, if you have an immune system issue, like if you have autoimmune disease, ashwagandha, this is not something that I make a blanket statement of stay away from ashwagandha, because that's not the case. But you could be sensitive to ashwagandha. And this really just has to do with the type of immune issue that you have, like the type of autoimmunity that you have. If you have other kind of immune system issues, not an autoimmune disease per se, but something else going on, you really have to look into ashwagandha to see how it's going to affect you. And this is how I'm just going to give you my freebie information here and tell you how I do this. If I want to, okay, so here's the very specific way we're talking about for me. I have ankylosing spondylitis. So if there is an herb that I want to take, not just to help my AS, but to affect or to help my nervous system if I want to sleep, to help my hormones if I need some regulation, to help my gut, to like whatever, okay? Or because I have the flu and I want to get over it. Whatever it is, I'm going to look at the individual herbs. So we're going to say ashwagandha. Okay, you know what? We're going to do elderberry because that's the easiest example for me. We're going to look at elderberry. Now, I know my disease. I know ankylosing spondylitis really well. So I know exactly what cytokines in my body, and you can look up this for any disease, any condition, you're going to go on the National Institute of Health website. Okay. On that website, sometimes it can get real technical, but there is an endless amount of case studies for everything that has ever been studied. This is not organizations putting that information in there, okay? It is the doctors that have done the studies. It is, here's the problem, here's what we're going to do, this is what we're looking at, this is what we found. There is non-biased information on this entire site. It is excellent. The National Institute of Health. That's what you want to look up. Okay, the NIH website. So you can go on there. I will go on. When I was looking for elderberry, or I was just looking generally for my AS, that's where I went. And I researched the heck out of this. And I found exactly what their theories are, because there's no concrete evidence or answers or anything on why ankylosing spondylitis exists, how it affects the body. They know what it does do, and they know where it's created in the body. So the why is the question, but they know on the cellular level that this disease is caused by these cytokines, which is a portion of the immune system, going haywire. So, okay, we know that information. That's the information we have for that disease. So now we come over to the herbs. What about elderberry? Elderberry would kick the flu's butt. Let's look at elderberry. So I look up elderberry and I go in and I search elderberry ankylosing spondylitis, or I look up elderberry cytokines, because I know elderberry is an immune boosting herb. So we look at the properties with the herb, right? We go, this is an immune helping herb, but I have autoimmune disease, which means my immune system is already boosted. That's a trigger. So that goes with knowing your disease and knowing a little bit about your herbs. So knowing that, I have to dig a little deeper. Well, how does elderberry affect the immune system? Well, elderberry affects the immune system. On the NIH website, it says this, because these cytokines, IL-6, IL-6, is it 4 or 2? Holy cow, I'm blanking out. IL-6, I think it's IL-6, IL-4. Oh my goodness. And tumor necrosis factor alpha. Those three are the ones that are responsible for the damage that is done to my spine 24/7. Also, those are the three cytokines that elderberry will boost. So I can't take elderberry. Ain't no way, ain't no how. Because if I do that, it's going to boost the damage directly to my spine. So that's how we find out that this herb is a no-go for me. So that's how you do it. It takes some research, and it sounds a lot of steps, but it really is a simple way to really dive deeper. You're not going to get all of that from a book, okay? You have to go different way. Burdock root tea. Burdock root tea is amazing, Ezekiel. Yep, love burdock root tea for many, 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 many things. So the website again, National Institute of Health, fabulous, fabulous site. Okay, so back to ashwagandha. Ashwagandha can trigger some people with some autoimmune diseases. So you're gonna have to look up your individual one if that's a concern for you. No matter what your autoimmune disease is, if you are not sure whether or not your disease qualifies as an autoimmune disease, that NIH website will also help you with that. Now, fair warning, some of the studies in there can be extremely technical. So like they're giving a lot of facts and numbers, and that can be very overwhelming. So you can also look on like in their case studies, and there's hyperlinks in there. So you can click on one of those clickable links. That's what a hyperlink is for those that don't know. You can click on one of those links and it'll take you to another study, or it'll take you sometimes directly to that doctor that did the study, and you can get more information that way. So it's a little bit of like, going down the rabbit hole, getting the information. But if you really want to take control of your health, if you really want to be the one that is in charge and making the decisions, you have to teach yourself this. So I'm going to tell you guys about this. I have not launched this to the general public about this yet, but I'm going to put a link down there in case y'all are interested in it. I started a membership for herbal medicine. So all of the stuff that I just mentioned, I teach you how to do in my membership. Now we are in month 1 right now that I opened it just for people that were on my email list already. But I am opening it for the general public on April 1st. So there is, I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna put the link down there. There's a wait list right now, so that you can go in and you can get all the information and you can see if it's something that you want to dive into. Of course, I have free information here on YouTube. I have free information on Instagram. I share things that I'm doing all the time, but I don't share what I just shared with you tonight. I don't share all of the how-to technical stuff and the simple way to get it done. That's what I do in the membership. So we're starting with the very fundamentals of everything because you need the basics to get started on this. You need to know how you're going to stock, what you're going to stock, what kind of books that you need to have. You need everything to get started, and that's what is in month 1. Moving forward, you get everything that I have talked about from day 1. Every single one of my herbal winter workshops is included in that for free. So that's 8 other workshops that is included for free. Tons of resources and like massive discounts on any of my big stuff. So like my book, my courses, like all of those massive, we're talking like 50% off discounts for members. So that is going to be open in April 1st. That launches for the general public. And if you guys have any other questions, then you can click that link down there that I'll put down there. So does anybody have any questions that you have not gotten answered or want clarification on? I need more water. My throat is about done. Hey guys, we got through alive with not a single troll. Yes, that was awesome. I don't know if you guys see them when they come in here, but sometimes they can get pretty nasty. So I'm very excited. We had no trolls tonight. That's awesome. So, all right, it is 8:07. So now we have to try and get the daughter to go to bed. So if anybody has any other questions that you do not want to talk publicly about or that you want more deeply addressed, we can always talk. You can email me. All of our information is in the about section, or you can check me out over on Instagram. Over there. Herbs for concussions, traumatic brain injuries. Taylor, that is going to be supportive. So with concussions and okay. Herbs for concussions and traumatic brain injuries. So with concussions and traumatic brain injuries, that's damage. So you are looking at supporting healing for that. And that is going to be like your lion's mane. You want to, if you have inflammation happening, which always happens with a traumatic brain injury and a concussion, always happens. You want to decrease the inflammation. Now, inflammation is a healing response, right? So getting rid of all inflammation is not what you're looking to do. So, but something that doctors will do is sometimes if there's too much swelling, that puts too much pressure on the brain, they'll put them on steroids. So nettle is the most anti-inflammatory herb. You can do that. You can also be taking the lion's mane. Excellent, excellent thing that you can be taking for that. What herb school are you using? Also, mushroom class info. Okay, so the school that I am going to for my naturopath stuff, that is not an herb school. That is a naturopath school. And Robin, I can send you the information on Instagram if you want. Just send me if you want that information, let me know. It's a company, it's a school called Scholastico, I think. And I did a whole bunch of information or a whole bunch of research on this before I enrolled because the last thing I wanted to do was go take a class and go pay for a course to get a certification in something that I already knew 80% of the information, because as a naturopath, you are getting, it's a lot of anatomy and physiology, right? Well, I did all that already as a paramedic, so I really didn't need a lot of that. And this one, there's a lot of review for me and a lot of stuff that's like, yeah, I know that stuff. But there's also like a deeper dive in it and how everything is connected. It's just been so interesting and I'm very, very excited with it. Very, very happy to incorporate it. later on. So it's exciting. Mushroom class info. The book for the medicinal mushrooms that I'm using is called Medicinal Mushrooms. And I can't remember the author to save my life right now. I can't, but I'm going to check in like half an hour after I get off here. Sometimes it takes a while to like, actually upload and be available for the public again. YouTube has to like render it and do whatever they do. But I'm going to put links down there for everything. So the medicinal mushroom book, and okay, I'm going to make my notes, and then the membership. And I know some of you in here are members in there already. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to have you guys in there. So excited. It's going to be such a great community. And so thankful for you, Jen. Glad to be along the journey. Paula, I'm glad you're here. I'm so glad. I missed all you guys. It was fun doing this. Okay. All right. So I got to hop off, but thank you so much for joining me tonight. It was so much fun. And yeah, if you guys have any other questions, please let me know. I do also see the comments later. So if you have any other comments or anything, just go ahead, put them in there and I'll see them later. All right. We'll see you guys. I hope you guys have a great night and I'll talk to you later. Bye.